everyone, I'm Christine and this is my channel Christine Sews a Lot. Welcome to Friday Sews. Today I have a public service announcement and a little bit of a life update. Friday Sews was created by Jen from Today and Jen's Sewing Room as a way to bring the sewing community together. If you want to find more sewing vloggers, you can search the YouTube search bar for hashtag Friday Sews. The format of Friday Sews is to talk about what you've been working on, what your upcoming sewing plans are, and a little bit of a life update. If you've been watching me, you know that Charlie and I are moving, and that's why I'm out here filming on our screened-in porch. The inside of the house is just too cluttered for me to want to spend much time in there other than doing the packing and all the necessary things with moving. So when I'm not doing that, I'm out here on the porch enjoying my screened-in porch and the lovely weather here. We were really lucky. We found a house and were able to get a contract on the house about a week ago. Last week, when I was on my way to South Carolina to do some house hunting, I had my car just loaded. I had it loaded with my sewing machines and some things that we do not want the movers to move for us. I stopped in Bay Minette to top off my gas tank, and when I turned the car off, I couldn't get the key out. So I tried jiggling the steering wheel, I tried starting and going back and forth a little bit, and I thought, oh my goodness, what terrible timing. So I filled my gas tank up and pushed off. When I stopped for gas again in Opelika, I had the same thing. I couldn't get my key out of the ignition. By then I needed to go to the bathroom, and I was thinking, how am I going to get all the way to South Carolina? I've got my precious valuables in the car that I didn't want the movers to move. I can't lock the car, I can't leave the car. So I filled up with gas and I went to Wesley Tire and Auto in Opelika. They serviced our cars for us for more than 20 years when we lived in that area. And I thought maybe Mr. Wesley can help me. A big shout out to Wesley Tire and Auto. I pulled up probably about 1 or 2 in the afternoon and proceeded to tell my little story of what was happening. And the lady at the reception asked one of the mechanics if he could look at my car, and he's like, oh, it might be really involved. I don't think we're going to be able to get it until tomorrow. I was just like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Can I please use your bathroom? I came out of the bathroom and the mechanic was waiting for me, and he said, I couldn't let you drive all the way to South Carolina without just taking a look. So he walked over to my car with me and got into the driver's seat, tried to see if he could get the key out, and then he looked down and said, what's that? I said, this is my trash bag. So this is looped over the gear shift, and this was hanging off by the side. I have had this on my gear shift for years without any incident, and I did have to fess up to Charlie because he told me, I don't think that's a good idea. I said, well, sure, it's fine. It's not pulling any weight. But I had so many things stacked in the driver's seat, even though I thought I had the car fully in park, this was keeping it from going in park. So the mechanic pulled up the trash bag, shoved it that last little millimeter into gear, and was able to get my keys out. I was so relieved that I was at the point of tears when I thanked him, and I was able to continue my journey to South Carolina. So thank you everybody at Wesley Tire and Auto and Opelika. I knew that if I stopped there, they would help, and they did. So the last few days, I have done zero sewing. I did, while I was still in South Carolina, do a few Sew Frugal 22 projects, but I will be waiting until April to reveal those. I have been packing and packing and packing. I have creatively been making meals out of Muscos. That's something that my father-in-law had introduced me to. He had said, we're gonna have Muscos for dinner tonight. And I was like, Muscos, what's Muscos? This must go, that must go. So now every time we need to empty out the refrigerator, we have Muscos in honor of my father-in-law. So last night's Muscos was absolutely delicious. I'll put a picture here. It's a salad with all kinds of goodies, and some of the stuff was prime, some of it was needing to be used, and it was delicious. I may not be sewing, but I am watching a ton of sewing videos, especially sewing room organizations. My new sewing room is going to be about 3 times the size of my current sewing room, so I'll be able to cut, press, and sew all in the same room. I have convenient storage in the attic with an access right off the sewing room. So it's gonna be really nice, and I think Charlie's as happy about it as I am, because that means the sewing will not be in virtually every room of the house. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to try as much as possible to use what I have, but I do know that I want a new solution for a sewing table for my primary machine and my serger, so that I can have them next to each other and go from one machine to the other nice and smooth. And so what I'm thinking is putting it along one of the long walls and having the machines next to each other. Maybe a narrow table. If you have an idea of what would work for this, I really want something sturdy, and I'm not very tall. I'm 5'4" and a little bit, so I do not want to have a table that's so high that I have to have a box for my feet or something to lift up my feet and the sewing pedal. I want it to be a nice low table. So if you got any ideas, hit me up below. I've recently been inspired by Adam from Adam Sews on making a little bit of a quilt. Our kitchen in the new house is much smaller than the kitchen we have now, and we decided we're going to put our coffee station in the sunroom where we're going to eat most of our meals. And I have a painted buffet that I want to put the coffee station on, and I thought it would be nice to quilt a pad to put on top of this painted buffet, just so that it doesn't stain or chip or get damaged. And I've had several suggestions from y'all on what to use. Suggestions, everything from using Insulbright or to use flannel instead of cotton batting so that it's a smoother, flatter surface. And I think that's what I'm going to try first. I also had the suggestion of having some glass cut to the size of my buffet, and I'm going to look into that and just see how much that would cost to have that piece of glass cut to size. So I'm just so excited about this move and really looking forward to it. I guess that's making up for not being able to sew, though I will admit I was very tempted to open some of my boxes. Somewhere in one of those boxes I have a charm pack, and I've been thinking about it and thinking, well, that would be really pretty for the piece to go over my buffet. And then common sense took over. I certainly do not need to start opening and poking through boxes. I need to close boxes and finish packing. So I am less than 2 weeks away from move date. I'm pretty excited. So I don't know how much I will be on here until that time. I will give you a little house tour when I get in, and maybe that'll spark some ideas for how I might organize the sewing room. Until next time, I hope you have a joyful week and that you find the good in all things, especially sewing. Bye.